state lines with hillbillies and guns. It's been a hell of a ride and a whole lot of fun. They gave me many names down there in Dixie, but the main one that stuck on me was whiskey.
And welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Ballistics podcast, the show where we talk a little about firearms, a little about whiskey, and a whole lot of everything in between. I'm your host, Joel Potter, and invite you to sit back, relax, pour yourself a glass as we talk some bourbon and ballistics. Today's episode, we're going to talk about a different kind of shot, a different kind of course, a different kind of
still ballistic parabola.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. We have Brian Bailie on the show today, coming all the way from Florida, correct?
Virginia, actually.
Virginia?
Yeah.
And so East Coast, and this is going to be a little bit different type of episode. The first time I've tried to do this remote deal. So Brian's kind of had to walk me through it and figure it out. You're no stranger to podcasting and all this stuff. So Brian, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. And thank you for having me. And, I enjoy a good bourbon. I enjoy a good handgun. And I definitely enjoy a good cigar. So
yes,
I think I found the right place.
I know. I figured when we started talking, it was like, this is a no-brainer, going to be easy. The logistics I thought were a little bit, because I haven't done this before, obviously, and trying to figure that out with the 3-hour time difference and all that. So this is getting recorded at 7:30. I'm a state worker, so we're 7 o'clock means 7:30 typically.
That's fine.
Yeah. so let's get into, you are the owner operator of GolfCask. And
correct.
A whole lot of other things. Let's talk about exactly what it is that you do and what you got going on there.
Sounds good. I'm a golf coach by trade. I coached collegiately for 20 years. I still teach putting and short game is kind of my specialty inside of the golf world. I've had the good fortune to travel the world, teach golf, make a living on it. A couple summers ago, I was sitting in Ireland. We were doing a golf clinic out there, and me and a couple buddies were sitting around and we're drinking some nice fine Irish whiskey and a little snug in a pub with all the students that we were teaching. And I'm just like, man, why are we not doing this more often? Like, this just makes no sense. So that was kind of the genesis of what we call GolfCask. So GolfCask is golf, whiskey, and cigars. Adventure, community, kind of are our 5 main pillars. So what we really like to do is get like-minded people, no matter what your ratio is, right? If you're just a whiskey cigar guy and don't play golf, we got tons of content in here for you. Come on in. If you're just a cigar guy, love you. Let's puff one up one day. And then again, if you like all three, we'll set up a lot of events throughout the year, kind of catering to all three. So, that was the genesis of GolfCask. So now it's a website. We have a bunch of members inside the system. And it's just a bunch of fun people that get together and then enjoy the 3 passions. And for my ratio, I'm a huge golfer. I'm a huge bourbon maker or fan. And then cigars are a little less. So I would say I'm probably 40-40-20. So golf, whiskey kind of running side by side. I don't smoke nearly as much of my buddies do. I like a good cigar, but I can't keep up with them. But it's fun.
So when you guys are out there, enjoying whiskey or in golf, how many, what's your cigar in, how many, what do you take?
I can't do more than 2 a day. That was a promise to my wife. I'm usually probably 1 or 2 a week. My buddies are probably 1 to 2 a day. So I'm probably 1 or 2 weeks. So if we're playing 18 holes, you're probably looking at about a cigar per 9. Really into my Father Blue right now. One of my buddies turned me on. Spectacular cigar. Really one of my favorites. Quite enjoyable. But yeah, I would say, when we're on the golf course, it's probably about 1 per 9 for us. A good cigar is going to take you an hour.
Sure.
Round of golf, ideally 9 holes, somewhere in that hour to hour and a half, if done correctly. It fits very well.
Good. Now, I wanted to, at what point did you, so when you said you had that kind of aha moment, right?
Yeah.
And when all this, you're like, why aren't we just making this into a thing? What what was the setting like there? I mean, just the boys out having a good time, or
Pretty much.
yeah,
When anytime you get a large group of males together, typically there's a lot of BS talking, a lot of ribbon. And then, it's just like, as I've gotten older, I'm in my 50s now. So I know I only have so many more trips around that wonderful orb. So in my head, I'm like, well, I can keep grinding and doing what I do, which I love. But I was like, man, it's all about experiences. We are social creatures. Everything comes down to that. So, with the world being fast, God knows you watch the news, you're taking in news with a fire hose. You got your idiot boxes that you're scrolling through, scanning. I was like, we just, everything that we do inside a GolfCask is the exact opposite of what the world does, right? We're like, let's play golf. That's going to take 4 hours, right? Let's smoke a cigar. That's going to take, depending on, your ring gauge and all that, it could take, 30 minutes to an hour and a half. Let's enjoy a fine whiskey. Yeah, you're looking at 30 minutes of pour. So everything we do is the exact opposite. Let's slow down. Let's enjoy the experience of what's happening today and worry about all this other stuff later. So again, I guess as I've gotten older, I'm getting more philosophical in the way I view the world. And I'm just like, the world just needs to slow the hell down.
sure,
And enjoy the finer things. Worry about what you need to worry about. Don't worry about the things you can't control. And just, hey, sit down with, I have 5 buddies that we call the Whiskey Syndicate. I have actually 3 veterans in the group, me, the rodeo clown, and another buddy. And we meet together once a month, do blind tastings, smoke cigars, and just enjoy 3 hours together. Like literally, we make sure we carve out once a month where we come together, which is not easy with 5 guys coming together. But we're like, hey, this is important. This is what we have to do. So all these pieces are just kind of starting to chug and starting to make sense. And, henceforth, I was like, hey, there's got to be a lot of people out there that like this as well. Hence, we started GolfCask. And we just had a great weekend. My 5-group syndicate just went to West Virginia. There's a wonderful little distillery called Devil's Due. Shout out to you guys. They gave us a private whiskey tasting. We went straight for the barrels. Did 4 brand new barrels that they're releasing, kind of their first run at 5-year-old whiskey. It was an absolutely phenomenal weekend. So my buddy has a farm up in West Virginia, so we went and did ungodly large pours of 120 plus proof whiskeys. So they went very generous on the samples. And then we went straight into our blind tasting, which was the theme this month was the highest strength you got, bring it. So I actually brought Jefferson Reserve at a mere 130.
nice,
So we had 5 whiskeys, of which our lowest number was mine at 130.
nice.
We finished the night with a George T. Stag, which was very nice. One of our buddies brought that, which wasn't necessary, but was appreciated. Next day, we shot skeet, did some handgun stuff, and then did a bunch of cigar videos, smoking and having a good time. So it was a fun boys weekend, all revolving around. We couldn't play golf; it's too cold. But
yeah,
we're in the Mid-Atlantic here. It gets a little chilly here in the winter,
sure.
so
Yeah,
we
you guys
kind of
got a
shut
lot
down.
going on over there.
We got a lot coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been here in Nevada, it's been wild because everything it's just going right over us, and then just picking up all this speed and all this momentum, and then just hammering the rest of the country. It's wild.
They're predicting right now 24 inches of snow for us,
Dang.
and possibly 2 inches of sleet on top of that.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be lovely. It's gonna be absolutely. I can't wait to shovel.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes for good golf conditions too, right? Yeah.
The golf courses they'll be closed down for a month.
Yeah.
It'll take a while, but I've gotten, like I said, I've gotten older. My son, rabid golfer now. He's getting ready to play college golf. I have a general rule: I don't play below 50, and I don't play above 89. So I have a window that's available to me. So if the weather works out, I'm more than willing to go play with him. If not, I'm like, doesn't fit the criteria. Can't go.
That's good. Have standards for sure. Yeah.
No, definitely.
So you said you're a veteran?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
My father was in the military in the Navy for 25 years.
Okay.
My father-in-law was a 2-star general. Three of the guys that are in my whiskey syndicate are all veterans,
Gotcha. Okay.
so I grew up in Tidewater, Virginia Beach, home of the the Seventh Fleet. Like I've been around the military my whole life, but I did not serve. But I do have a great appreciation for veterans.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things. I thought when I created this show, it was a, kind of an ode to that, because I myself didn't serve either, and but there's so many amazing stories out there from
Yeah.
veterans, and they really need an outlet, to kind of and to your your club and your mantra, essentially getting out there with the boys and kind of that decompression.
Yep.
I think that's phenomenal.
No, I think yeah, it's to me, like I said, it's just fun. We forget to have fun
Yeah.
as a society many times. So like I said, when we do our whiskey syndicate meetup every month, like leading into that is like, man, you just get so excited. It's like, man, this is gonna be so much fun. There's nothing that's gonna stop me from getting over, to have that camaraderie, that time with my buddies. So I think if we did more of that as a people, we'd be much happier,
Sure.
much happier. But no, I think like I said, handguns. I'm an avid shooter, always have been. Grew up around hunting, did a lot of bird hunting, duck hunting as a kid. Kind of went away from hunting as I got older, but started getting into handguns and enjoy shooting. We have about 6 acres. We have a little shooting range, a bunch of old oak trees that are stacked down in a little valley. So we have our own little shooting range in the back of the property, and all my kids are very proficient at firearms. I said this is important, especially for my daughter. I was like, here's your great equalizer. There's, you run across, no matter what size person they are, if you know how to operate a firearm correctly, it will equalize whatever the situation is. So that's always been a big part of the family as well. And yeah, so like I said, my goal through all of this was just being able to provide, the golf whiskey side. But again, like I said, we just did a bunch of we did skeet shooting. Now we had a manual thrower. 3 of the guys were not very good skeet shooters. They did more missing than hitting. One of the guys, we actually had to tape one of the pigeons to a tree branch and let him shoot the clay from the branch.
Give him something, right?
He had so much trouble when it was in the air. We're like, we cannot let you leave without hitting this clay. And it took him 3 shots, but damn it if he didn't do it, But it was really fun. And then, like I said, we have a former Marine that was he was in the embassies for kind of bodyguards and whatnot. So very proficient with a handgun. So he was giving us some tips and pointers on how to be better shooters. So that was cool. And yeah, it was a great weekend.
Good. Now I want to, kind of, because I'm not very savvy when it comes to golf. I don't golf, but I've seen, I've gone out a few times with my buddies and just kind of just dinked around the cart and drank beers and whatnot. And let them, let the pros handle it. Right. But
that's right.
When you're out there, I mean, and you're watching people, like from an instructor standpoint, right? I mean, what tips are you giving them when you're out there? I mean, how does that work?
It would really depend. So I would say for most amateur golfers, the thing that they do wrong the most is they really, really try hard to hit the ball. Seems like that's what you should be doing. But in the golf swing, it's more of a rhythm based. So if you ever go to a pro event, you go out there, most of those dudes are tiny. They're pretty tiny dudes, and they kill it, right? Bigger guys come out there and think that they can overpower the system and hit it far. It doesn't work that way. So golf is a rotational timing sport. So I would say most people go wrong. There's no timing. Like they just swing way too hard, no rhythm. So a lot of times with a lot of people that come into the system, we teach skills like being able to control club face, being able to control parts of the swing, and get them to swing in a rhythm. The golf swing builds itself. I can sit there and teach you to, your elbow needs to be here, your wrist needs to flex this amount. Humans are messy. We're messy creatures. Like we can't put things in an exact point every time, where it's always a version of. So if you can get them to understand what we're trying to do is control this club face. Can it be within a certain tolerance when it makes impact with the ball? if we can control that and we move in time well, you're going to hit it reasonably well. And then if you can hit it reasonably well, now you can start building on the skills and create a golf game. So I would say most people go wrong and there's just no rhythm to what they're trying to do. They're just trying to hit it instead of swing it. They're just trying to hit it. And it's a humbling game. It's a very difficult game to play, but it's rewarding because, like I said, there's no group out there that when they hit that first shot where like everything worked and they're just like, oh, I get it. It's like shooting on the range, right? When you find that piece, oh, I get it now. Like this just makes more sense. So that moment is, and then once you get that moment, I get it. Now you have a goal to chase. Now you're hooked, and now you're gonna spend a whole lot of money.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not a very cheap hobby, right?
It varies. You can go play munis that are still relatively affordable, and then it's like a good whiskey, right?
Sure.
You can get a Wild Turkey 101. It is a fine bourbon. Or I can go pay a couple $100 and get a George T. Stacks and all my shit. Like, so it's up to you. It's what you want. It's your experience. You control it. But yeah, so I would say rhythm more than anything inside of the golf game. And what I also learned, I used to own a golf data science company. So when I got out of coaching college golf, I started a data science company with a buddy. And the one thing I learned more than anything is it's more important to learn to hit the golf ball well than it is to putt, to chip. Your ability to hit it off the golf tee and hit approach shots is disproportionately more important than anything you can learn in and around the green.
Really?
So for those starters, go get a lesson, start to learn to get the ball up in the air and start to move it correctly. You can backfill the other parts. I think most people go wrong. They think, if I become a really good putter, I'll be good at this game. Doesn't work that way. So if you think about the average tour player, gets to the green from tee to green over 18 holes, it takes them roughly 41 shots. On the putting green, they're putting it about 29 times, so they're going to shoot about 70. 100 shooters is going to take about 62, 64 shots to get to the green, so 20 plus more shots, but they're only going to putt it 38 times. So they're only 6 or 7 away from the tour pro there, but they're 20 plus on getting to the green. So your ability to get to the green quicker is probably the most important piece that, as a starting golfer, figure that out. And also as a starting golfer, don't let your ego get in the way. The only club you can hit is a 7-iron. Hit the heck out of the 7-iron until you can learn to hit a 6-iron. Don't hit a driver because everybody else hitting the driver, because every time I hit a driver, I hit a house to the right or the left, or I top it, or just leave it in the bag. Hit the clubs you can hit and then start building out of that, which is really hard for the ego. But I've seen a lot of people break 100 with about 3 clubs. So like, I can hit this, and I can hit this. Well, let's hit that a lot and actually keep it in play, and you'll be amazed on how easy it is to break 100.
Utilize your toolbox, right? The things that are
always, basically go back into training. What am I good at? Can I put myself in what I'm good at? Makes a very successful day. If I don't, it's like I said, and I always say golf is probably the hardest sport to play and be good at. It's kind of like a decathlete. There's so many pieces of it, and it's a variance game. The golf course changes hole by hole, day by day, week by week. Weather changes, wind changes. All these external factors are changing. My golf swing's always changing. My abilities to control pieces in that, and I have to be really good. Like if I can't hit it off a tee box, I can't play the game because I don't have a chance. If I can't putt at all, I can't finish the hole. So again, you can't be bad at any of it. You can be really great at pieces, but you can't be bad at any of it if you want to be a good golfer. Yeah. And I think that's the hardest part, is it's backfilling all of that, which is time consuming. It takes a while, but my son went from shooting in the hundreds to breaking par in 4 years. So it's doable.
Yeah.
It's doable.
There's got to be some sort of natural ability and agility to make that happen? Or
yeah, he's not much of an athlete though, but, and he'll even tell you that. He's like, I'm not the greatest of athletes, but what he did is he understood what it took. Now, granted, it helped having dad as a coach, and it also helped one of the pros here locally that I'm good friends with works with him, because I wanted to be dad, not his swing coach. Yeah. So I did most of the stuff through him. But he really understood what was important when. and really attack those pieces. And then as pieces were getting better, we kept adding what we needed to do to score well, where most people, I would say, don't look at it as a logical progression and just kind of, now if you just want to play on the weekends, have fun, rip a driver every once in a while, you play once a month, once a year, awesome. But if your goal is to get pretty good, to kind of have that methodology, what it takes to get to where I'm going is really important. And I hate to say it, as an industry inside of golf, we're really bad at that. We are terrible at coaching people to become really good golfers. Most coaches like to coach the problem at the moment. I'm hooking it. Okay, we'll get rid of the hook. Did that make you better? Maybe today.
Yeah.
Maybe today. But so that piece. So I think again, that long-term quest, that long-term goal is really important. What do you want to be? Set that goal and then just start chasing the heck out of it.
So do you see that I think that besides the mechanics of golf, I mean there's a lot of mental hurdles to jump as well, right? I mean, you get inside your own head pretty easy, I would assume.
Yeah, and they say it's a good walk spoiled, right? It's literally, depending on the golf course, you're out there for about 4 hours, give or take. Say hour and a half to 2 hours per nine. Actual swing takes about a second and a half. So again, if you hit 100 shots during the day, it's only 100 seconds out of 4 hours. So your brain has a lot of places to wander in those 4 hours. And the hard part about this sport too is that it's not reactive at all, right? Like you're not reacting to the ball moving, a defensive player moving. You're not reacting to anything other than a little ball sitting down on the ground, just kind of staring at you. And so, yeah, I would say the mental side of golf, it's hard. I say most golfers are masochists. We enjoy the pain.
Yeah.
It's you sit down with a good golfer, it because immediately they'll sit down and go, "Oh man, number two, I screwed up this. I did this. What did you shoot today? 69." But they remembered all 4 or 5 really dumb things they did. But the 60 other great things that they did throughout, it doesn't even register. Yeah. So we're masochists at heart. But it's a fun game. It's a challenging game, and what I've learned is you really get to see who people are when you play golf with them. Cheaters show up, you can see they're cheating. People, people that lose their temper very fast, you see that. People that, do, I guess, look down on a certain sector or a certain group, you see inside of that 4 hours, you really get to see what the person is made of, and it's very fascinating. So I remember, so I read in one of the business magazines I kind of read along with, and one guy goes, "I take everybody out to the golf course because it's a great revealer. In 4 hours, it's hard to, and under pressures and it's hard to mask who you are. So golf is kind of a good game to, you really get a good sense of who a person is after a round or two of golf."
That's an interesting take. The couple times that I've been out, I think that is absolutely spot on. I mean, it really does, kind of take that off. I mean, you get to see that's what a wonderful take. That's neat.
It's a great revealer. It's a great revealer. Right. Oh, wow. And I thought I've had some really good friends, and I played golf with them. I'm like, oh boy, he's got some issues.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about your. I mean, because you're also doing podcasting, right? And so let's talk about that, because I think, me being so new to this still, how long have you been doing it?
Oh gosh. First podcast I did was with our data science company. That was probably during COVID.
Okay.
We had a bunch of free time. We were stuck in front of our computers doing a lot of computer work. So we decided to, hey, let's just talk for an hour. And we did pretty good for a while, but we were really bad at being consistent. So we built up a pretty good fan base, and we weren't consistent. And the one thing I've learned inside of podcasting, number one rule, be consistent. Because if you're not consistent, there's so much out there to grab your attention. If you're like not every Monday or every Tuesday, whatever day you're releasing at a certain time, people will go, there's another guy over here. There's another guy over here. So I would say more than anything, be consistent. And then what I've learned too is just listen. The best thing you can do inside of an interview, just listen, and then whatever the person talks about, oh, that's a new question. Let's go there. I don't ever write down a list of things. I have a couple bullet points. Let's hit this, this, and this. But more than anything, just kind of listen and let them go and be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be anything other than who you are. And, like I said, when you see me on a podcast, I'm the same guy if you were sitting here next to me enjoying a good bourbon and having a cigar. It'd be the same conversation.
Sure.
So if you kind of keep those three things kind of together, you'll be pretty successful. I don't know what your aspirations are or where you want this to be, but do you know the average podcast listening size? This always floors me. So the average podcast, so if you took all the podcasts in the world, what is the average listener per podcast?
I wouldn't know. No idea.
It's about 10 people.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise
So,
me, really.
yeah. So it's about 10 people. So if you can get up in about 100, man, you're killing it. You get to 1,000, man, you are in like the 1% club. You start getting above that, man, you're in territory that nobody else is navigating. So it like I said, to me, it's a passion, and it takes a while. You just kind of got to keep chugging, and the best thing to do is listen whoever's listening. If you have an email contact, Instagram or whatever, ask them questions. What do you like? What didn't you like? What would you like to see in the future? Because again, are you doing the podcast for me? I just want to be me and talk about me. Or am I trying to engage the audience? Which ideally you're engaging the audience. So, just like inside of GolfCask, how much I've changed quickly because the people said, we really like this, not so much this or whatever. We didn't do cigars at first inside of GolfCask because I was like, that's golf and whiskey. And then what I came to find out is everybody inside the system that liked golf and whiskey also smoked cigars for the most part. So I was like, well, I like a good cigar.
Yeah.
Let's do cigars. So yeah. So again, it's just listening to the audience.
That's cool. I think, one of the things, this is, something I've learned over the just a few years I've been doing this, but I went in, my original episodes were just kind of on the fly, and I didn't really have an agenda, and it was just kind of a conversation. But what I noticed that I was doing a lot was kind of bogarting. People don't give a shit about me, at all, right? It's like I want to do this because other people's stories are cool, and so I still try to figure it out, right? I mean, to figure out like I'm doing, just not necessarily taking the conversation away from the person that's got the story to tell.
That's the key, because again, if you're just doing me in front of a microphone, which I do a lot and I hate, it drives me crazy, but it's kind of what I have to do inside of GolfCask to provide content. But again, as soon as you create a conversation, well, it needs to be a conversation. And if you're inviting a guest, the show's about the guest, ideally. So again, the more I can get from them and then tie in, on the edges, kind of pull the strings and move the conversation where I needed to go is a really good podcast host. And even like if you think of Joe Rogan, what does he do? He just sits there, listens, goes, oh, never thought of that. Let's look at that more. So he does it. So Rogan, again, he does the same thing. He has his list. Here's kind of where I want to go today. But he is totally into the conversation and, really? Is that real? So I think a lot of that, again, so a good host, again, is just kind of navigating and managing where all this is going.
Sure.
And it, like anything, the more you do it, the better you get. When I go back and watch some of the first videos I did inside of golf instruction, and they were awful. I mean, I was so scared of the camera. I hated talking to people. Like, I am an introvert of all introverts. I've had to learn to be an extrovert.
Yeah, it doesn't show.
On the camera, I'm an extrovert. Boy, as soon as I cut this off, I'll sit in my basement for 3 days and not talk to a soul. I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. But I've had to teach myself, to be out there and you got to talk. And it's hard.
So let me ask you this in the same breath. So you get a guest on the show, introvert, right? And the same thing, you do a lot of this. They get on the show. What do you do? Like, what do you use to kind of get them out of their shell?
I do a little bit of, I always have research. I kind of want to know who you are, what you do. Because again, even introverts like to talk about themselves. Mm-hmm. Everyone's number one subject that they know the most about is themselves. So you hit them with a couple softballs, give me a backstory, like why'd you start the business? What are some key pieces, what were influences? And then once they start to do that and get comfortable, they'll start to shed more and more information. But it can be hard. There's some people that,
Do you have, not naming any names, but I mean, I feel like through the years, I've had a couple times where I'm giving it my all, everything I got to try to make
Yeah.
an episode of it, and the person just can't really open up. And it sucks
There,
because you all got a great story, you know?
yeah, there's some people that just answer with very vaguely, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a yes no-y kind of day. So then your questions become more yes no centered.
Mhm.
It's just like, do you really feel that X and Y is really more important than Z? Yeah, really. Do you want to expand on that?
Nope.
No? Okay. No. It's usually not that bad, but you're always going to run across people that don't want to communicate well, and that's where if we got to fill 30 minutes, I'm going to talk for 20 of it.
Hmm.
It's okay. But
Sure.
but no, I think more than not, if you get them comfortable, get them on a subject material that they like, most people will open up a bit. So I haven't had too many where I was just like 4 minutes in, I'm like, okay, we just need to shut this puppy down.
It's a loss. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lost cause. Just jettison this puppy.
How often do you record?
Uh, so currently we do one, two, we do 2 podcasts a month that are kind of live. And then I usually try to record those about a week or two out. And I work in my basement, so I work from home. So it's basically just catering to other people's schedules. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty flexible on that. Ideally, the golf group I meet with, well, one guy's from South Dakota. One is from like, I don't know, 3 hours away from us. So we don't meet very often as a group. So we do a lot of online. But the other group we meet as one group, and we meet that once a month. And then the other two are just recordings of different stuff. So basically, I have a new podcast out every week.
Oh, okay.
Every Monday, I release something new. So I do a lot of writing inside of GolfCask about whiskey, golf, and cigars. So every Monday, I release a podcast of the top stories or once a month. I'm sorry. It used to be weekly. Now it's monthly because we added new
Okay.
stuff. So we have a podcast once a month that goes through and says, here are the top read blogs for the month. And I just read through them, give a little background why I picked the story or why it was written or things like that. Then I just started a new one we call Legends. I'm a history nerd. I love history. So I've done a ton of research and I've come up with 12 stories for this year. So I'm releasing one a month of history being influenced by golf, whiskey, and cigars.
Hmm.
So each story is a historical piece that is true. Now I use a little creativity and a little licensing to make it a little bit funny, a little more modern. So I release that once a month, and then we do a golf, what we call the cut line, which is learning to overcome obstacles inside of golf, the mental side as much as anything. And then we have our whiskey syndicate that we're just going to release Monday coming up. I got to finish the editing process on that. And we had our 5 syndicate members where we brought 5 different whiskeys, 1 cigar. So everything we do is a competition. So we each brought our own whiskey that paired to the cigar, and then we tasted and said which whiskey paired best with the cigar. So it's more lighthearted,
Oh, how
fun.
fun.
Yeah, it was competitive too. I did win. I just want to say I did win. But no, it was a lot of fun, a lot of trash talking, a lot of editing.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of jump cuts because there was tirades where I was like, I just can't make it on air.
Yeah.
But no, it's a lot of fun. So pairing whiskeys and cigars and whiskey together to me is a lot of fun because if you get a whiskey that overpowers a cigar, that's no bueno. If you have a cigar that overpowers a whiskey, that's no bueno.
Sure.
So again, trying to find a pairing, whether it's complementary, it elevates the cigar, or the cigar elevates the whiskey, or finding, I've actually really found if you actually go 180 degrees opposite. So if you have a big, bold cigar and you come opposite and come with something sweet and friendly, like a malted, maybe a malted Irish or some sort of Scotch, that 180 degrees opposite a lot of times pays off, and it did on this one. So we had a Macanudo. I don't know. It was fancy. One of our buddies is a cigar nut, so he brought like this fancy stick, and I was like, it's just bold. It's like I would say it was medium to way past medium. It was pretty strong,
Hmm.
and so I put a malted Irish whiskey, which is silky, which is an Irish. It's like a Scotch made in Ireland, so they use Irish peat because Irish peat is completely different than Scottish peat.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a cask strength, but it's really sweet, really malty. Get a lot of those leathery notes. So it actually paired perfectly, and it worked out really well. Now there were some of the ryes did really well, but overall they hated to give it to me because they don't ever want to give me any credit. But yeah, I won that one. Like they were trying to justify everything else, and at the end when we voted, I was just like, just say it, just say it. But so yeah, so those would be the 4 releases I do in a month, and then I do what we also call a bottle share, where I talk to a bunch of whiskey distillers, and that might be something you want to look at as well if you're tying in the bourbon fact. There's a lot of craft distillers that just want their craft, their stories to be shared with audiences, so you can get a lot of those guys that come on podcasts.
Mhm.
On occasions, you can swindle a good free bottle from them,
Sure.
and stuff like that. So we do something we call bottle share, and that's just kind of randomly dropped through the year, where I actually now sit down with the distiller, and we'll go through their entire lineup, go through the whiskeys, taste it, tell the stories. And for me, that's just candy.
Easy.
That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. A good
yeah.
day.
Look, come on down to the distillery. We're gonna have our new whiskeys like we just did at Devil's Due. We're gonna be drinking straight out of the barrel. Come enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I bring a couple friends, please? Perfect. Uh, and I'm starting to get whiskeys in the mail, which is always fun. So I've gotten enough people now where that I get random whiskeys mailed to me, which is Christmas. So that's kind of in the podcast, and I do tons of video stuff like short takes and stuff just to keep my audience with content. Always new content coming in weekly inside the system. To me, it's, I am a web-based platform, so it's just creating content and making sure I stay out in front of giving our members what they want. And
Sure.
yeah, it's fun work, time consuming. Editing is nasty, but I could be doing worse things for a living.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's fantastic. It's funny to me because a lot of people that I talk to, I mean, I had no idea what I was getting into when I started a podcast, right? If you really
Yeah.
wanted to do something, the amount of effort it takes to actually make it do
Yep.
something is crazy. And I think that there's a reason why, there's 99% of the podcasts that end up just failing after the first year because you get into the editing and you get into, staying on top of your social medias and all that stuff to try to make it do something. People are like, dude,
Yep.
I got way too many things on my plate to think that this is going to work,
Yeah, it takes time, and there has to be a preparation of some sort.
Yeah.
If you're a wing it podcast, it. 1 or 2 episodes in, you're like, they're winging it, which is fine. If I enjoy the winging side of it, it's fine. But again, if you're trying to make something different, you're trying to be a cut above a lot of the group, it takes time to go research different people, different subject matters to have a good conversation, and yeah, it's and editing it, like post production is disproportionately worse than any of the other parts. Going through and just chopping it up, getting the audio right, especially when someone's microphone is just terrible and you're just like, this is gonna be hard. Now the software has gotten better. When I started doing this about 8-9 years ago, software wasn't very good for audio. Like you had to pay big money. It's kind of shied away from that, but definitely it's gotten easier. That with the AI and all, they've done a pretty good job of cleaning up audio.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this, like I said, being my first time using Riverside, how this all goes. I had these big plans and then everything just went to hell right before I was, trying to still get the setup for you because I know we locked in a date. So I'm hoping it sounds good. And I think that you have a really great story. You have a ton to offer. I know that, in the email conversation we've had back and forth, I mean, you have so much going on. There's so much to offer from GolfCask.
Yeah, probably too much.
It's a
My
long
wife
list.
tells me that all the time.
Yeah, it's a long
No,
list.
no, I made a quarterly magazine. The good news is I've gotten to know a bunch of distillers. I've gotten to know, of course, I know a lot of guys in the golf industry. So I was like, this is just a no-brainer. Let's do a quarterly magazine where we talk differently. I'm an educational guy, right? I'm a golf coach. So it's more from the education side than the actual, oh God, my dog just got in the basement. It's okay. More the educational side. So it's really in-depth learning inside of golf and whiskey opposed to, a lot of the magazines that are out there. So we started a quarterly magazine. I do all my normal stuff. We have monthly challenges in the system now, so I create challenges every month from cigars to whiskey. Yeah, so like I said, in the pantheon as an entrepreneur, as starting a business, it was like I finally got to the point now where I said, all right, my platform is really good. It's not where I wanted to be. It's version 3.0.
Mm-hmm.
I already have version 10.0 built like on the actual, written up on the board, like where I'm going. But it's strong enough now where we have whiskey tastings and rankings inside the system. So you can rank golf courses, cigar lounges, whiskeys, distilleries, pubs, like all of that. And so, inside of GolfCask, we're really a community is what we're trying to build, a like-minded group. And we want to know inside the system if if I'm actually in Nevada, we have a map system with all the different. Sorry, my wife's talking in the background. Trying to get the dog up. So if I land in Nevada, I can fire up the app. There's a map system that has all the distilleries in the U.S. It has cigar lounges and all pubs, has all that stuff. So we want you to be able to land anywhere in America, fire up the system and say, hey, here's a golf course near me, here's a pub near me, here's rankings from people in the system that I trust. But more so, and this is something we're coming out in 26, is we're going to put membership on the map as well. So if I do land, I'll be like, hey, Joel, I know we've never met, but I'd love to meet you up for a whiskey, and I want to learn more about what you do. And so, so again, what we're really trying to build more than anything is that community component. And I want, like I said, to me, it's all of them started as a funnel trying to get people into the system. Like, how can I go hook people? Where can I grab people and get them to understand what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
But once you kind of figure out, it's so much fun because, again, like with the golf magazine, I get to go to all these distilleries, sit down, write an article, talk to them. They actually pay me money to be in the magazine. Like it's weird. It's a weird system. Like I never really knew that magazines made money by people paying them to be in the magazine. I always thought they just wrote a magazine, found this article, and thought it was great. Now I've been lied to my whole life. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Like the first person I called with a magazine, I was like, I'd love to do an article on you. They're like, okay, what's your fees? I was like, I have to pay you? I'm like, I didn't say that out loud, but I'm like, I don't. So I'm like, can you elaborate? Like, I'm trying to understand this. And they're like, what do you charge us for being in the magazine per page, per what? And I'm like, I think I looked at my wife and I'm like, I'm an idiot. So there's those components. And then I think something that's going to be fun this year is we're doing whiskey golf trails. So we're getting ready to start rolling here, and I'm going to start recording probably early spring, roll through early summer, and then release through the fall. We're going to do 6 whiskey golf trails where we start with a spark. So we start with a cigar. So there's a group I work with called Stogie Hub, really nice guys up in the DC area. They pick the cigar that we start with. So they give us all the background about the cigar and why we're smoking the cigar. And then we immediately take it and we got to pair it. Either we'll be at a distillery, we'll go to the distillery, say, give us your line of whiskeys. Let's find the one that pairs the best. Or we'll go to the syndicate, my group, and we'll figure out what whiskey pairs the best. And then we'll have to pair a golf course to it.
Oh.
So once we got the cigar, once we got the whiskey, and then we find the golf course. Then we talk with the golf course, and then we set up a group trip.
How cool.
Hey, anybody that wants to come join us, we're going to go play on this date. Said distiller's coming, said cigar maker's coming. We're going to have a blast on Saturday, whatever. Who wants to join us? Let us know. So we're going to be running that. Like I said, we're going to start filming here in the spring, early summer, and then we should have probably 6 of those ready to go this fall. So that's that's been eating up a lot of my time.
Sure.
Just trying to get that organized. And then the final thing, I hate talking about me in my program, but we're starting what we call Greens and Grains Society. So what we want to do is find small groups around the country, whether it be your local golf course, pub, cigar lounge, or just you and 5 friends that like to hang out together, and you start your own chapter of GolfCask or our Greens and Grains Society. And we just want you to meet quarterly. We'll give you all the information on how to meet quarterly. We'll give you whiskey tasting pairings. We'll give you cigar information. We'll give you golf information. And again, you set up the society to what your group is. If my group doesn't like golf at all, you just ignore the golf part of it and just do the whiskey and the cigars or whatnot. But we want to create a society all around the world. And then we want to start meeting up, start talking trash inside of our forum, start getting these groups having some fun. And then I would love to have meetups throughout the year. Hey, once again, your group, my group, let's go spend a weekend and play some golf down in Pinehurst, or go to Florida, or go to California, or hey, there's this wonderful new distillery opening up. They'd love to have, 50 people show up. Who can, what groups can come? We'll go hang out, do dinner, and have a good night or whatever. So we're getting ready to roll that out starting in February. And the best thing about it, it's all free right now. 2026 is free. After that, there'll be a paywall. There's always a free component, but to gain different levels, I'll have to be able to make some money somehow. Sure. But right now, like 2026, we went ahead and just waived all fees. Said, hey, come to GolfCask if you like golf, whiskey, cigars, any ratio of. We'd love to have you.
Sounds awesome. Now, I know you're short on time. I just want to give you an opportunity to, this is your chance to show everybody where you're at, tell them where to go to find you.
All right, golfcask.com. So GOLFCASK, golfcask.com. You can find me on all the socials. Instagram mainly is what I do, and then YouTube. So we have channels there, but we have our own video platform inside of GameForge as well. Or not GameForge, GolfCask. GameForge was the old business that I sold. Okay. Inside of GolfCask, there's tons of videos. Like I said, we have our map, we have a forum, we have events posted, we have going across the scroll bar, challenges, we have a library with all of our different magazines and write-ups. We have our Poor Decisions, which is our ranking system, which is fun. I built it as Rotten Tomatoes. So there's the expert criteria list, and then there's the nation, which is all the members. So my experts will rank a whiskey, the nation will rank a whiskey, and it'll see, and it tags anytime that there's a big discrepancy between the two. It says, hey, and that immediately becomes a conversation inside of our forum. Like, let's tell the experts how stupid they are, or the experts can say, hey, I don't know. You really think Basil Hayden toasted is good? Somebody told me that. I went and bought a bottle. It's water. It's lovely. Basil Hayden makes good, fine whiskey, but like I was told this is really, really good. So I went out and bought it, and I literally poured it, and I'm like, interesting. Tastes like tea. Maybe my son got a hold of it. Wait, no.
Right. Maybe it was tea, yeah.
Maybe it was tea. So we have the poor decisions version, and then we also have what we call on our radar. So through all the different rankings of golf courses, distilleries, cigars, whiskeys, if you're like, man, I really want to try that, you can actually put it in your radar, and it'll put it in a column form for you. So the next time you're at a cigar bar or a pub or a ABC store, liquor store, you can say, I really, here are the bottles I want to try here or whatever. So think of it as your own personal assistant on things you like. There's also things I don't like. There's about 5 whiskeys that I have in there that have big X's. Like, don't ever, ever, ever forget that you do not like this whiskey. So don't go to a pub, have too many, and go, yeah, I'll try the no. Like, don't waste your money. So we have that in there as well. And then, like I said, just tons of content. So yeah, GolfCask, find us, Spotify as well, and Apple Podcast, blah, 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 typical places you can find us.
Okay, sounds good. Well, Brian, thank you for spending the time with me today. Like I said, we could have probably done this for a long time, and I apologize for being late to the party.
No problem.
For everyone listening, if golf, whiskey, cigars, stories, community, if all that matters, go look at golf.
Yeah, man. We'd love to have you. We'd love to chat with you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much, and good luck with your podcast.
Thank you, Brian. Have a good day, and good luck with the storm coming.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a good one.
You take care.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
I cross state lines with hillbillies and guns. It's been a hell of a ride and a whole lot of fun. They gave me many names down there in Dixie.